all being here. I know it's a big day for sports fall press conferences. Super excited about the season. We finally are starting to make progress on, hey, we got the schedule set for the fall. That's the big step. We're all but one coach. We've got our staff filled out, and then the kids are starting to trickle in today. Today and tomorrow, I saw a bunch of them out running. We start officially on Tuesday of next week, so a little later start than what they're used to. But that's by design. We hope to be running in June, which is a long season. So we want to make sure our kids get here and get prepared, but also be ready for 10 months from now when you have the Olympic trials and things like that. We'll start our season off with a small triangular meet at Eastern Kentucky with Eastern Kentucky and Kentucky, and then we'll wait about a month. Then we'll do Live in Lou, and then we'll head to A&M, and then the conference championships in Tallahassee, and then the NCAA regional in Spartanburg, South Carolina, with the goals of getting some kids and possibly a team to the national championship. Those are the goals. Those have always been the goals at every stop I've been at, and as you guys know, I haven't been at many stops. So this is the third in, I don't want to say it, 30 years. So that's the goal, and that's the expectation for the team, to always strive for and be the best they possibly can be, and the goal of making national championships and representing the university on a first-class basis.
Joe, what's been I know there's been a lot of challenges since we talked to you last, but maybe what's been the one thing you've had to focus on? Has it been getting the staff together?
It's just going through all the little things. I think I said before, the first time I felt normal when I was here for about 10 days was getting on the plane with Brian and Trey to go to Eugene to the World Championship trials. That's a comfort area. So now, fast forward, we're going on about week 7. Now things are starting to get familiar. So there haven't necessarily been any challenges, just changes that you have to adapt to. So we're slowly getting that. We're slowly getting the staff comfortable with each other, but it's super fluid in the office, which is awesome. And we're just down one staff member, but we hope to have that done here in the next day or two, just waiting on some paperwork. So no significant challenges that aren't that I would consider challenges.
What's been like talking to some of the players as you kind of try to learn more of the culture about Louisville yourself?
Well, it's interesting because this isn't a me thing, this is a we thing. So we met with one of the women this morning just talking about training locations, because we like to build our practice schedule out so the men and women have it. And then we're talking about cross country specifically because that starts now. So the men and women have where we're going to be each day. And Bailey and I are sitting there asking the student, hey, what's the name of this location? We've been there, but we don't exactly know the name. So those students have been super receptive and super excited, just like we are, and that's our personality. Our personality is one of let's give everybody great opportunities, and they feel that. It's been, once we get going on Tuesday, it'll be a lot more interaction. Probably if you ask me 8 weeks from now, they'll probably need a break from me, especially after I have a cup of coffee or two. They're going to be like, oh gosh, this guy's got to relax. So this is only a half a coffee today, so you got to see me on 2. So they've been super receptive.
Coach, what was the incentive? What was the motivation that brought you to Louisville?
I think that is a multi-layered question. Josh and his commitment, and Marvin's and the athletic department and the university's commitment to athletics across the board is unlike anything that I've seen. And that is refreshing. When you've been in this as long as I have, you want somebody with a vision. You want somebody that, as a leader with a vision, somebody where the university buys into that leader, where the city buys into that leader, and the state buys into that leader. And I see that in Josh. And so when I was going through this process, as you may or may not know, I'm not a job hopper. That's not It's not who I am. So this was a unique situation with everything we need to be very good, and it's time to try something different and get this going. So it's the opportunity, it's the leadership, it's the university, and it's the state's enthusiasm for Louisville.
We hear a lot about NIL and its impact, and particularly in football and basketball. Does it come into play in your recruiting? And if so, can you illustrate what impact it might have?
It hasn't to date. That doesn't mean it's not going to, but it hasn't to date with NIL incentives and things like that. I've heard, everybody always hears rumors, right? Oh, the quarterback got $12 million to go to State University of football. Did that actually happen? We don't actually know because we don't see the contract. So we hear rumors about universities that have NIL deals, but we haven't lost a recruit because, in our sport anyway, we haven't lost a recruit because of an NIL deal.
Joe, you said you start next Tuesday. How do you feel? I guess let's start with the women's side of things in cross country. How do you feel about what you've kind of put together? There's some returnees. Do you have some newcomers?
Yeah, we have 4 or 5 new transfers that are coming in right now, and then we have a big group of freshmen, a really big group of freshman women that are coming in. So excited about it. It's going to be a learning curve for all of us. But the goal is not September 1, it's not September 28th, it's the end of October and first week in November. So that's a long time. The wonderful thing about our sport is we're literally judged on 2 or 3 competitions, and they happen at the end of the year. So we're not judged on what happens on September 15th. The women's team has some very solid women on the team, led by Riley Penn, who's transferring in, who's run 2:01 for 800 and 4:10 for the 1500, which is arguably the best returning NCAA middle distance runner in the country. So she's very, very good. And you couple her with everybody else that's coming in, and it's a good, solid group. The men's team is super hungry. They had a trip to Colorado together on their own accord and got an Airbnb in Colorado, and we're out there for a month, so they're super motivated. And for us to start on Tuesday, we're going to start with a light workout, find out who actually has been doing things, and then we'll build from there. We'll have this first week of kind of checkpoints to see where people are, and then we have to build, because we have about 85 days to go. So you build throughout that while trying to minimize risk of injury.
Joe, is there anything for you that you're hoping to get like established in year one with your program and your culture here at Louisville? Is there anything like in particular that really stands out you hope can get accomplished with this?
Yeah, sure. That's I want students to understand that we're in this for them. That's what we do. We're in this for them and to give them every opportunity. So establish that belief system within the team and the men and women on the team that, hey, we're going to help you. If you want to go to law school, we're going to do everything we can to put you in position to go to law school. If you want to make it to Paris in 2024, we're going to do everything we can to get you to Paris in 2024. Those are what I hope gets established, in that because with the new staff coming in, there's always that, oh, what's going to happen? What is that transition going to be like? And hopefully they get that, hey, we're going to do everything we can to get them to where they want to be.
You mentioned during your introduction just the facilities that Louisville has as comparison to where you've been before. How much really does that make a difference, and how much can maybe even you as a coach take it to the next level when you do have everything going for you?
Well, it plays a major role into it, but we are also, our sport is about relationships and building relationships with men and women on the team. Once those relationship happens, then you couple that with the facilities and the infrastructure that's here, then the sky's the limit. But those relationships have to happen first. You could go through some of the universities in the country, and we all know this, that may have the Taj Mahal of football stadiums, but they get 60% capacity. So why is that? Does it have to do with wins, losses? Does it have to do with relationships? So in our sport in particular, and in individual sports about relationships, then you throw facilities and infrastructure on top of it. That's when the sky is literally the limit.
What kind of impact does it have for a program such as yours to have an NCAA champion as you had last year with Gabby? And is there a residual benefit from that?
There is. It's instant name recognition, especially in that event area, the pole vault. And Brooke has come back as a coach, she's added to our staff, which is awesome. So that's an event area that we have a great history in, and we don't ever want to minimize that history and try to maximize on the success. So Gabby will actually be coming back here, at least as of right now, coming back here to train for Paris in 2024. So Gabby's going to be around, and we want her to be part of our staff and whatever level she is allowed to be part of, and help grow that portion of the program, because the vault is super unique, and we have one of the best vault coaches in the world, literally on our staff. So let's promote that area.
You mentioned to be at the end of the season, to peak, and putting together the schedule. Obviously, intentional how you space meets out. I assume to give you a little break early in the year.
It is. Again, we're going to be judged on the end of October and middle of November. So let's look at prize fighting. They're not fighting every 2 weeks. They're fighting every 5 months or whatever that is. So if we go to the well too often, we will, that well is going to run dry. So when we hit it, we have to be ready to hit it hard, and hit it at the best of our ability for who we are. So we can't go out and go every other week or every 2 weeks or every week, because at some point we will just run out of gas. They'll get injured, they'll get sick. Because at about week 4, we're going to go through a sickness, because you have all these people coming from all across the state and country and world into the university. We're going to have sickness, and we got to manage that. We got to manage all types of things that go through, because the one thing you can't do in our sport, you can't fake it. 5 miles is not fun when you have strep throat. Right? It's just not fun. So you can't. So you got to limit risk. So I'm the king of the 3-word text: wash your hands, take your iron. All those little things that you can control.
When you take a look at, you obviously had a recruiting pitch at your previous job. What's your recruiting pitch to get kids here to Louisville?
Oh, there's a lot. Metropolitan city, world-class university, an airport that you can see from the university. So think about all the places you've been, guys, all the sporting events you've covered. You ever flown in those major cities, then driven an hour and a half to go cover a competition? That's miserable. Imagine doing that, coming back from a 10 p.m. trip, landing, and having to drive 2 hours to get to your dorm room, or an hour and a half. That is a quality of life that's key to what we do. Because we do come back on Saturday nights. We do these things differently. So that's for us to land and be in bed in 20 minutes, there are very few. Just look at the footprint of the ACC. There aren't many people that can do that. And I'm just running through my head real quickly. I can't really think of any. Maybe a couple, but not 5 minutes. And some a long way. Yeah, so from a recruiting pitch, we have a world-class indoor facility that we have access to. We have ease of access for travel. We have fantastic university that supports athletics. We have great leadership in Josh. We have medical and mental health professionals unlike any situation I've been at. And I've seen every situation in the United States. I didn't know the infrastructure here until I started talking to Josh. So when you talk about recruiting pitch and things that we literally have in every sport everything we need to be successful at a very high level.
You mentioned earlier just talking to one of your runners about, finding the different spots to train here in the city. I'm just wondering, for someone who's new to Louisville, what that's been like to get out and just see different running spots throughout the city, and how does that compare to some of your other previous stops?
It's we're probably going to have 5 or 6 locations that we train at, and those aren't going to change very often, except if they're on their own. It's just getting to know them. It's getting our bikes fixed and being able to get out on the bikes with them. We tend to be on the bikes. We're not a coaching staff that just drops kids off in a van and goes. We're going to be on bikes with people, talking to people. Because again, like I talked about before, it's about relationships and building that relationship with kids. So we want to be out there as much as possible. Bailey and I, this weekend, will have to get out and start riding a lot and just literally figuring out where we are.
Thanks, Coach.
Right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking time. Enjoy Canes. And for all